Peace and love, all family. We're going to discuss real quick, what's really going on. All right, this is what's going on from what I see. We have a series of information out here in this world, and we was born into it, so we believe this stuff is true or whatever the case may be because it's the only information out here. So you have different things going on. Yes, brother. And it's like we don't fully understand what the whole meaning of it is because the information and the experience you have, and that's all you have to equate it to. Now, this information that we get in, where do we get it from? What's the source of this information? Well, it's got to be other human beings or whatever, left it here prior to our arrival, or us just following the culture of where we was born into the souls. But what wind up happening now, when you start researching everything that took place to bring about this information as far as history, science, our beliefs and what we think is true and what not is true, it's like you got to look at the author of those books or the person who defined your reality and gave you these definitions, their psychological state of mind when they did these things. We looking at Egypt, and I'm gonna just use Egypt because it's the last known real civilization that it's not just spirituality existed, but it was like an interdimensional world, a world where different spirits and beings, and have also the gods, you have the demons, you have the seraphims, you have angels and archangels. All of these is all really a part of our system. It's a part of who we are. It's like we have a visible world that our five senses can interpret, but it only could interpret what a man write or a man give you as a definition. But like our invisible senses, our subconscious, our dream, actually what we're experiencing is of a different note. It's not something that could be defined that simple. And those that define it using mathematical equations, they really don't understand it. Everybody who I research and I listen to, and they talk about spirituality, they lack it. I hear all the black researchers and all the people that's trying to lead us and tell us what's right from wrong. They don't put the spiritual aspect into their teachings. All I see is you have your government, or we say those our oppressor make up something, and then we come back and we iterate on it and explain it to the black nation, or we explain it to humanity so that they could get an understanding. But we didn't make it up, much less do we really have the true explanation of what it really means. So you get a whole bunch of speculations and opinions being circulated as far as us, and we call it knowledge or wisdom, but it's being deceptive because we didn't make up the knowledge. I have yet seen somebody that has done their own individual research and coming up with their own information. Everybody that I've seen, they write these books or read these books, not even write, my bad. They read these books, and then once they read these books, they construct the information and pass it back on to you. So you believe what they're telling you is true, but nobody, not even the one conveying a message, much less the one who you are listening to it, or the one who wrote the book, actually experienced none of these things for themselves. And so we have a world where we as humans that was put here souls to experience don't have no experience, and we just believe and we just say what we was told. And life is a law that is governed by what you was told, not actually what it is. The reason why this information is important is because we lost ourselves as human beings, especially the African and black nation, which is very important to understand because the history of this world, it anchors upon knowing the truth about what's going on, who you are, and what your purpose is. Now, the information out here has nothing to do with who you are, no matter who it is, us trying to convey it to you. The truth of the matter is all the information pertaining to who you are is not in circulation, not on the internet, not in no books, because they don't want you to know the truth of who you are. I've done a lot of research to come to this conclusion. And who they tell us we are is who we think we are or who we say we are. For example, we all believe in God and Jesus Christ and all this stuff, but we fail to realize it's one book one book that you was offered to give you one definition and one option and one choice. And everybody in the world, you know, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus. Who's God? Who's your God? I don't believe in God. You got it from that book. If there was more option, let's say if it was Jod, J-O-D, you would have been like, okay, well, I think I believe in Jod more than God because Jod, you know, he did this and this. But you don't even have no other options to compare it to. What you was told is what you believe, and it's embedded in your psychology. You can't ascend past that in thought. And you got to realize those is not truths. Neither was those really meant for you to take it in a literal sense. So we have to understand that we constrain ourselves in a lot of ways. Constrain ourselves with the information that we ingest, and we constrain ourselves with the belief in the information. Information is not always going to be true, and it's not supposed to be taken to heart or to mind or to be stood on as foundation to live off of. Information is just to guide you to the next information or to close a chapter in your life, to bring some type of security or acknowledgement to you. That's all it's supposed to do. And if you can't find those things on the internet or from one of your black leaders or any leader that you're following, it's time for you to look deeper. The truth is within yourself, because from my personal research, I come to realize we're all angels, fallen angels, and the story of our life and even the race and color thing goes beyond the skin and the material world. You know, I always thought it was just a material aspect of us, and it is. When ascending, color has nothing to do with it because we reincarnated many times and was many colors. But it's not about the color of your skin. It's about your species and where you come from, what cosmic species or genetics you're linked to, and that don't have a color. It comes in every color, and we all here experiencing different parts and aspects of what we was missing in ourselves. So some people are born rich because they was once poor and they have to experience what it is, and those who are born poor, they have to experience what they need to do. To be honest with you, your first parts of reincarnation is to be born rich, because you're going to learn how to enjoy the pleasures of life. It's not going to teach you the truth and have you humble. When you're born poor is when you almost finish your whole cycle of life and you learned everything you have to learn. And being poor is the hardest one to live with, because you have to learn these material things that we see is not real. You know, you take the dollar bill, for instance. The same $1 bill is the same paper the $100 bill is being made on. So the value of the dollar or the 100 is still the same. It's all on you. You're the one who put the value to it. So with that in mind, everything in this world that's created is not of no value. We're the ones who put value to it. But we're not putting value to our spirituality, our real self, because that information isn't out here. So what we are is a creation of the Creator, our master, our oppressor. Our mind state is of him, and we only know his ways. We only know what he wrote on paper, and he gave the definitions he left us, what he put on the internet. We have no mind of our own. We don't know what it is to be a human, or what's called a man. Man is the one that could use his 3 glands, the thalamus gland, the pineal gland, and the pituitary gland. Human is the one that could only use the thalamus gland and the pituitary gland. And mankind can't use none of the above. So you get an idea that we as man, we have to learn how angels live and how spirits move. I'm going to teach you. All my information on Facebook is pertaining to that. And if you want to learn the world and life of angels and higher beings, you have to get with me, because that's all I'm into. That's all I'm interested in. I want instructions. I don't want to hear philosophy. I don't want somebody to explain what they're talking about. What did they mean? I really don't care. I want to learn how to help myself. I want to know who I am and how to do what I need to do. And that's what you need to learn nowadays. And don't focus on being proud to be black or proud to be white. All that shit don't mean a goddamn thing if you don't know what to do with it. So I just wanted to leave this bug in your ear. I'm not going to get into too many things. I want to keep it short and sweet. You know, one love. And I'm here with y'all, family. We're going to take this to the next level. Ascension begins. One love.